Now, as far as our next topic, there is something that I would probably say I have been a little bit befuddled by as of this past week. Because, as I've stated on the show before, when we go ahead and we talk about certain wrestling brands, we'll talk about WWE, what happens on Raw, what happens on SmackDown, TNA at times, AEW certainly. But I've always gone on the record as saying that as far as NXT is concerned, until they start treating NXT like a legitimate show and not just developmental area number one for Raw and SmackDown, we would not do anything about it. We wouldn't talk about the pay-per-views. We wouldn't necessarily give it its credit until maybe it was on the CW later on this year. But what they did this past Tuesday has made me reconsider. Because I can't remember the last time NXT felt like Raw or SmackDown itself. But yesterday's absolutely was. My God. What they did. I mean, pretty much there's three major points here. First one, obviously, would probably be the big wrestling effect of it all. When you have your new number one competitor for Roxanne Perez's women's title, the TNA women's champion herself, Jordynne Grace, blew my freaking head.
I just exploded.
Like, it was one thing when Jordan was part of the Royal Rumble. It's like, okay, that was part of the deal for getting Naomi back. We all pretty much assumed that much. And considering what Naomi did with Jordan during her stint there in TNA, outstanding work. You know, there's nothing to say that Jordan doesn't deserve to be in a place like this. I would have figured if she came back, it would have been to Raw or SmackDown. Maybe something with Naomi if she needed like a tag partner or something of that nature. But to be brought in by Ava as the new competitor for Roxanne's title, which is going to be defended in like less than 2 weeks. I don't know what the plan is, but my God, I like it. Hey, how do you feel about this?
I got.
Did you break Dayveonne?
R-Truth. Yeah. How many fingers am I holding today? Many. You know it's bad when he's talking like Sloth from the Goonies.
Sounds like he has tetanus. What?
This is life at this moment. It's like watching Beavis and Butthead and watching Beavis say, "Unto Butthead." This is life.
No. Yeah, this is good, man. This is very, very good. I mean, you can talk about Forbidden Door on the AEW side all you want, but my God, actually having TNA talent while still listed as TNA talent, while still a champion in TNA, one of the longest running in the company at this point, to cross over and essentially have a play date with one of the most naturally gifted champions that NXT has ever produced. I may want to watch an NXT PLE. I have not said that in years.
Oh my God. Roxanne Perez.
Kyle, you're surprisingly quiet, as opposed to Dayveonne, who's like having a stroke. Kyle, what's your take on this?
Honestly, I'm all for it. It's you guys covered my thoughts already, so it's like.
Well, which one was more your thoughts, Dayveonne's or mine?
Yours. No, I think I'm not having a stroke just yet.
Face just exploded.
But no, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop it. So
Right.
we'll
I
see.
mean, obviously, you already saw last night some people upset that someone like Jordan was being brought in by Ava as opposed to, say, one of the talents that's been working on.
But why? But why would you be upset? Think about it. You wanted cross promotion within WWE. TNA, you just had Jordan Grace being a Royal Rumble. Why not elevate NXT by bringing Jordan Grace to go against Roxanne Perez for the women's title? Because if Jordan Grace wins, she has to do double duty, meaning she has to go to TNA with the NXT title and WWE with the TNA title. So that brings both audiences together and bringing more of an eyes on NXT than what it is now.
Yeah, pretty much taking a page out of Kenny Omega there. Cleaner,
well,
picking up
like,
all the belts.
It's like this definitely works well for TNA. And whether or not Jordy and Grace wins or loses, it's exposure for their brand.
Which is very funny. Yeah, it's funny though, because for the longest time, up until Royal Rumble, I think it was assumed that TNA had just as good a working relationship with AEW. Because you saw how much they crossed over.
Like I've said before, it's a different ownership group. So if TNA wants to try to get that WWE money, they'll work with them over AEW. Absolutely.
That WWE
absolutely right.
Definitely, like Triple H and company. They know what they've taken the ball and are running with it right now. And you know what? Yeah. And TNA is jumping on it. Granted, you haven't seen any men crossover yet.
Correct.
Any men crossover yet.
You know, funny enough that you mentioned that, because while this wasn't on NXT or anything, I did see the other day on X that Adam Pearce, Mr. Scrap Iron himself, he did go ahead and post a video, basically to Braun Breaker. If anyone has been watching Raw, you know Braun Breaker is just running through the entire.
He's their new Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam Pearce seems to have had a problem reining him in a sense.
And if you watched our interview with Mark Henry on YouTube, Mark Henry explains that he really think that Braun Breaker would be the next big thing.
Could be.
Check us out on YouTube.
There.
Guy's got the build.
But
guy's got the intensity.
The important thing I took away from Adam Pearce's little soliloquy to Mr. Breaker was he has such confidence in Braun Breaker that he went ahead and said this. He said, "I believe in Braun Breaker." And he said that twice.
Instead of believing in Joe Hendry?
You beat me to the punch, man. You beat me to the punch. If this is not some sort of clue as to possibly finally getting Joe Hendry over, especially considering they do have Clash at the Castle coming up, and Hendry is a good old Scottish boy. If for some reason they are able to get Henry versus Breaker for a match at Clash of the Castle, goddamn.
Say his name and he appears.
I believe in. Take your pick.
I'm not
saying Joe Hendry.
But the fact of the matter is, this came out at the same time that Jordan comes out to NXT. So maybe they are working up quite a few more TNA crossovers, possibly even maybe some NXT people getting some time in the ropes in TNA. I mean, you already have enough, I guess you'd say, legends of WWE, and the fact that you have Nick Nemeth over there with his brother. You have Broken Matt Hardy.
Ethan Page is on NXT now, too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was a TNA guy at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I would say definitely more crossover from AEW in that sense. But yeah,
and also,
no,
ladies and
teasing.
No, he's there.
But yeah, all ego. Ethan Page comes in, was the one to take out the two men of the metaphor before taking out Trick Williams, holding the belt up high at the end of NXT. It's kind of like what they did with Sean Spears, you know?
Kind of.
So maybe that's just how they deal with
NXT.
AEW.
It seems that NXT is they're using that as their experimental stuff. So they're doing the crossovers on NXT. Like this,
right.
Like aside from Royal Rumble, it's anything involving this stuff has been on NXT.
I got a question.
Okay.
Ryan, remember that person you interviewed?
Which one?
The one that you was drooling over?
Mark Henry?
We're not talking about that yet. We're not talking about that yet.
I'm bringing this up.
Yet.
It's not posted, but it's coming soon. We're not saying the person's name. But suppose she make an appearance.
So not Mark Henry?
No.
No, not Mark Henry. Dayveonne had Mark Henry.
Yeah, but I have Mark.
I mean, that is also a possibility. I mean, again, it depends on what TNA talent they can utilize in NXT. I don't know if it's necessarily the smartest thing in the world to go ahead and take someone who was in NXT before they were laid off, take them over to TNA, give them a whole new name and everything, and then bring them back to NXT. That seems a little redundant.
Okay.
But I would like to see other NXT, TNA crossovers, and more so with people that have actually been maybe TNA stalwarts like Jordan. Like, I would love to see, if this whole thing with Ethan Page doesn't work out, could we get Trick Williams versus Moose? That would be a slammer.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
Don't worry, you will.
Come on, Kyle. Whoop that trick. Come on, Kyle.
I'll stick with Joe Hendry.
Kyle, you supposed to
don't mess with Kyle's beliefs.
All right, Ryan. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Whoop.
No, but speaking of tricks, we also had a big celebrity name come up to NXT. Now, this is something that you normally would only see on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
But for someone like Sexy Red to come by to NXT and to be featured so heavily within the episode, not only was she brought in by Ava to display the new North American Women's title.
What's that noise? Why, Kyle? Why?
I don't think he's a fan of Sexy Red.
I got no problem with her.
I got something to say.
Calm yourself. Not only did she come out and display the new North American Women's Championship, which will be finally given to somebody at Battleground, but it was also announced that she will be hosting Battleground. So Sexy Red's going to be 2 for 2 as far as NXT is concerned. And not only that, she got into the mix of it during last night's main event when you had Trick Williams and Evans, Dayveonne Evans, going up against Gallus. Gallus was going to go ahead and take a belt and use it against them. Sexy Red stops Gallus from using the belt. Like, they have utilized her in such a way that it's not just like back during the Raw days when they would go ahead and have somebody host for an episode. No. This isn't like, Seth MacFarlane or Jeremy Piven. They're making it legit. And this just leads to the credence of, like, not only are you bringing in someone fully capable like Ethan Page, not only are you bringing in crossover talent like Jordan Grace, but now you're actually utilizing a, well-known in certain communities, rapper like Sexy Red to be more than just a pretty face. I don't know what to say, but NXT does have me maybe making a bit of a 180. Not all the way there, but maybe like 45 degrees. But
are we gonna
I'm turning,
avoid
man.
the elephant in the room?
Which one is that?
Ladies and gentlemen, remember in the lyrics where Kendrick Lamar says he likes his women with no BBLs? He like them all natural. Sexy Red has a BBL, and he cracked on Drake. And I know Ryan is like, no, God, no. And I'm like, yes.
I think even Kyle's like that at the moment.
Even Kyle. But I'm bringing it up. I love wrestling. But when you bring someone that
Trust me,
no,
nobody could be better than Booker T was on this.
I'm done. I am not done. Put her back on.
I'm putting up something else in the meantime. Calm yourself.
No, put
Trust
her
me,
back
you will like it.
Come on. The BBL, ladies and gentlemen. What is her finisher? The BBL? That's where we're going, audience?
Who knows?
I don't know, like guys.
Could be the bump. Could be the reverse bump that
it's going to be called the BBL.
It's the reverse bump that Naomi did for a while.
Naomi had a move. Naomi had a move like that.
Yeah, but
she did.
Yeah, but Sexy Red had elevated it with a BBL.
This is only for you, Day.
We're gonna act like this is not going. Like, really? Watch this. Really, ladies and gentlemen, really? We're gonna act like this is a thing. We're gonna act like this is a thing. Really? This is what's wrestling, ladies. Like, seriously? I'm going closer to the camera. Are we actually?
I kept it muted because otherwise you'd be hearing Booker T going all shuggy duggy quack quack. Seeing what the
stop it, Ryan. I'm having my moment.
You broke Booker T.
Like, we're gonna call this really? We're gonna make this a thing. We're gonna make this a thing.
Look, I as much as I may think that this is lowest common denominator going all the way back to the Attitude Era, if making NXT for the streets helps it, then so be it. I mean, that Lord knows they tried to do the same thing with SmackDown way back in the day. SmackDown was essentially like, the urban brand, considering who was being showcased.
Right? I'm keeping my peace.
Right.
What do you know about the streets? Huh? What do you know about the streets?
Did he grow up in the mean streets of Saskatchewan or something?
Did you grow up in the streets of Newark? Did you grow up in the streets
I'm from
of
the Polish ghetto, all right? Don't start with me.
I got my eye on this camera.
Well, better the camera than on Sexy Red.
Hey-o.
But
I think he see two.
What?
I can't say what I want to say because
I'm just saying, but see what it does then. Do you want me to play it again? Which, by the way, courtesy to Fresh for having this video. I don't know if I can play the audio, but trust me.
No, just play the video.
He's in on it. You want to hear the video?
If you want to hear the audio, go look up the video yourself.
Don't play the audio. Do not even play the video. No, this is what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're doing. This is wrestling. This is wrestling when we add Sexy Red in the picture. This is what we're doing.
I mean, do you not remember the Funkadactyls?
Oh my God, no. No, I remember Funkadactyls, but it was class. This is not class. This is not wrestling.
For somebody that wanted to bring up her Brazilian butt lift, you're certainly being very critical of what she does with it.
Dude, this is not wrestling. Please do not let me turn into Beavis. I will turn into Beavis. For God's sakes, do not let me turn
Please don't
into
let this be the transition to our next topic.
Yes, I think it does.
I
think it fits perfectly, honestly.
God, they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.